maybe if we lay it on thick, somebody else will say, yeah, you know what? We probably should call this guy out for that.
Well, yeah,
especially
we forgot
because of who he is.
Yeah,
I think it's even more important to call him out.
Exactly. I think so too. And I think what with like you and me, where we're bothered by it, is just that it wasn't called out in real time, right? I mean, Buck and Troy Aikman are awesome, but it felt like, yeah, they gave him a free pass for Duck and Chuck, worst interception of the weekend in the playoffs, and then they didn't even talk about that, and it was front and center. I mean, when I saw it happen, I was like, did Brady just try to kick slide him? Like, I literally, and I rewound it on my DVR and went back and was like, holy crap. And then, of course, got back to the game. But, yeah, I think that's what's frustrating, too, is that there is a lack of accountability there or people calling him out. And, yeah, it's a BS move. And we saw Mac Jones get called out and eviscerated, for something similar last year and this year. And here this guy's done it.
Rightfully so, too.
Right.
Rightfully so.
It doesn't make sense that way.
I will be very curious to listen to the next episode of the Let's Go podcast to hear how or if the issue comes up. And, he's laughed off that kind of stuff in the past. I don't know. We'll see. I'll hold my reaction to what he says Monday until I hear it on Monday. But I'm going to reserve the right to be even more upset if he says anything other than, that was wrong, I shouldn't have done it, I apologize, sometimes my emotions do get the better of me, I've been that way, and I know it's wrong, and I just can't help it in the moment. And I don't know what more I can say than that, other than I'm not going to do it ever again until he does it again. I'm looking at this list of all these things, and I'm sure there's more that we didn't see over the years, and some of the stuff he says and some of the way he acts. A great player. And look, maybe it's one of the ingredients in being the GOAT. Maybe, just like with Michael Jordan, the only way you ever become better than anyone who's ever done it is to be so maniacal and so tormented and so obsessed and so focused that your brain is periodically going to break and you're going to do stuff like that. I'm not making an excuse for it. I'm just trying to understand.
Well, Michael Jordan
why
never
he would
went to
do
cheap
that.
shotville ever. He never went, oh, wait,
No,
I'm losing. I'm going to take a cheap shot and try to, break a guy's leg or kick him in the, the family jewels, right? So, yeah, that's where
Dennis Rodman did.
Well, yeah, okay.
Remember when he kicked the cameraman in the crotch?
Yes, I do. Yes, there's a lot of things with Dennis Rodman that we can go back and have a whole show about. But, yeah, it's one of those things for, again, a guy who, it seems about perfect in a lot of ways in his life, and it is about work ethic and doing whatever he's got to do to win and doing all that. Yeah, it's moments of seems like being a baby, and that's just not what's cool, and we don't expect that from the GOAT.
Well, hey, and if people are going to call out Russell Wilson for being contrived and manicured and rehearsed and phony, TB12, whole lot of phony. Whole lot of fake. Whole lot of real guy stays under wraps 90% of the time. Remember he said that on LeBron James, The Shop, June of 2001. 90% of the things I say I don't believe. He doesn't want to be hated. He doesn't want the controversy. It's a deliberate effort to suppress your own authenticity. That's why I'm concerned he's not going to be very good in the broadcast booth. Unless he puts that bag down and is himself, it's going to be a lot of canned stuff, and he's going to have he's talking about turmoil because he's willing to say, I see a lot of bad football. You can say it generally. At some point, he's going to have to say it specifically.
Yeah, right.
At some point, he's going to be watching bad football, and he's going to be expected to say things. And he's going to be expected. Isn't it going to be awkward if somebody does something dirty during a game and he decides to get on a soapbox about it? That's going to be awkward. I'm kind of looking forward to Tom Brady as a broadcaster. I think this job is going to be a lot harder than he realizes.
I don't, I don't disagree. I'm interested to see that approach. Again, we know his knowledge of the game, his ability to talk it is special. But, yeah, can he, take a side or criticize a coach for making a bad decision on a third down or a fourth down, whatever that is? I think that's what we're all interested to see. Because, yeah, there's usually the superstar quarterback like a Tom Brady they're used to people liking them. They don't want to ruffle feathers that way. They don't want to make a stand and be controversial. And I think that's something that he's going to have to figure out here with the new job.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be said for just being who you are, not getting yourself caught up in this web of facades and appearances. It's exhausting. That's one of the reasons why I'm just open and obvious who I am. It's exhausting to try to be someone other than who you are. If you just say what you believe and be who you are, and life is a hell of a lot easier. Yeah, you create other issues, but life still is a lot easier if you're not trying to be something other than who you are. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.